Welcome back, all my 40k fanatics out there. I'm DJ.
And I'm Lane.
And we're here with Tim's Nation to bring you another Warhammer 40k battle report. Today is a little more of a practice game. It's a little more of a warm-up, a test, if you will, and a showcasing of the Devastating Wound DeathWatch. And this is the new variation of it. Lane, why don't you tell us a little bit real quick about it before we jump over into the army descriptions?
Sure. So for those of you who've been following the channel, my DeathWatch, I figured that if they take a bunch of stuff that has Devastating Wounds, and I use my Tome of Ectoclades that lets me reroll hits and wounds, I can do a lot of Devastating Wounds, somewhere in the 30 to 35 Devastating Wounds in that one big turn. So I've been playing with things that generate Devastating Wounds. This new list, I'm using sternguard. So 30 sternguard are in this list. GW decided to reduce the points on them in the last battle slate. I'm like, why would they do this? I looked, I saw the devs that had Devastating Wounds, and for their points value, I can get a lot of shots at, because if they're within rapid fire range, they get 30 shots that have Devastating Wounds. So that is what I want to throw out there. Much more efficient than the Terminator squad that I was using before.
Right on, right on. And I will be bringing the Necrons back. The AdMech is still doing it did well in our last meeting. I don't want to say very well, but we're making a lot of progress with this list. A lot more board control, a lot more ways to play the mission, and resilience. But again, the army with AdMech is starting to show potential competitively. Still need more reps, still need more time. But right now, with Necrons being so high up in the meta, and Lane traveling to Pittsburgh for a GT in how long?
A couple of days. It's this weekend. It's
this weekend.
Up.
So yeah,
it's the 13th and 14th. So.
Very soon. Wanted to definitely get a chance to play against some Necrons. Now, Hypercrypt is one of the more popular ones, but as I'm seeing a lot of this on the internet, there is a lot of questions about certain things with Hypercrypt. Can you do this turn one? Can you do that turn one? Can you do this? Can you do it? And in some ways, it might be that Hypercrypt is winning because, well, Games Workshop doesn't even know how to play it.
Right.
But I do think it's a powerful attachment. I think Lane has plenty of time and exposure to up-down armies with Grey Knights.
Mm-hmm.
Canoptek Court is what I'll be bringing today because, Lane, your army design is because you hate when your opponents save your shots.
I don't like when they take armor saves or invuln saves or have damage reduction. So I just have a ton of Devastating Wounds that are 1 damage.
And I have a bunch of Feel No Pain because we're playing Canoptek Court, and what better thing to do in a Canoptek Court is to bring a bunch of wraiths. You know what is also a better thing to do? Subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell for notifications, get notified on all the content that we bring you here on the channel, including our more in-depth, detailed army descriptions, like Lane's DeathWatch. After seeing this, if you're curious on how he built this, what he built this, and the breakdown of it, he goes into it much more detailed than he's about to do it, because he's about to tell us his army and going to do it on a snapshot. So, Lane, let's see that snapshot of what your army you were bringing today.
Let's do it. All right, today's DeathWatch, Devastating Wounds DeathWatch list goes like this. We've got 4 characters. We've got an Apothecary Biologist. His enhancement is the Beacon Angelus, lets his unit deep strike. We have a Captain in Phobos armor. His enhancement is the Tome of Ectoclades. For once per game, I pick 2 targets and reroll all hits and wounds into both of them. We've got the Lieutenant with Combi Weapon making his return to the channel. He's got the enhancement, the Thief of Secrets. This makes him a little better at close combat. I don't expect him to do much there. And then we've got a Calidus Assassin. Hopefully you know what she does by now. Now on to the actual army. We have 1 5-man of the Infiltrators, so they can block out some deep strikes. We have a 6-man of Eradicators that will be joined by the Biologist Apothecary. We have 3 ATVs. Then we've got 3 10-mans of the Sternguard. If I get an idea in my head, I just go for it. So 3 10-mans of the Sternguard. They're going to be riding around in 3 drop pods. And then we have a 6-man of the Centurions, the Devastator Centurions with twin las cannon and their missiles.
While that all may sound real good, what's better than to bring a boatload of bots? So we are bringing our Canoptek Court. This is the exact list that I took and ended up going 3 and out at a RTT with it. And then put it on the shelf because I don't like to run lists twice in a row. But it's been a while, so now it's time to bring it back out here. Lane wanted some Necron competition, and I like this list a lot. The only thing that is kind of a variation or change from what it was when I ran it before is the change to the 1 stratagem that does not allow my Immortals to all have Devastating Wounds. Instead, it would only be the Crypt Tech model in that unit, which I'll still do it, because as I said, even if my last pistol could be Dev Wounds, that's what we're going to run. So, the list. 3 Canoptek Doomstalkers. 2, the Canoptek Tomb Sentinels. 3, 2-man squads of the Canoptek Spiders. 2 6-man squads of Canoptek Wraiths, both led with a Technomancer. There's 2 Crypt Thralls, which have yet to determine where they're going to join. And I do have that 10-man squad of Immortals with an Overlord with Translocation Shroud and the Chronomancer. So this is my undefeated Necron list. You do know that, Lane.
Okay.
This is what I'm bringing. Never been beaten.
Okay.
Never been lost.
All right, time to change that.
But that was back when I could, pop devastating wounds to burn a Land Raider off of an objective.
Right.
No, this was going into this, what we discussed. With Hypercrypt, as far as it is with Hypercrypt, I like a different style of Hypercrypt that's much more fancy and finesse styling, similar to what I was running with Grey Knights.
Fancy Hypercrypt, okay.
Yeah, I don't want to just take a monolith.
DJ's putting on airs.
I don't like just taking a monolith and a Catan and going, look what I can do. No, it's not my play style. I prefer something that plays the long game, plays out into it late. And granted, Hypercrypt is still a very, very strong, hard-hitting army. Mm-hmm. Going into your Devastating Wound DevWatch, there's 2 things. One, I don't think it's going to showcase what you really can do, because now it has to change. It changes a little bit to what you do. Granted, you have some cool stuff you can do with the drop pods and stuff to be able to zone out and things like that. And I completely think you have an excellent matchup into Hypercrypt entirely.
Yeah, Hypercrypt usually has a lot of big units, a monolith, or 2 monoliths maybe, some sustains. And the DevWatch is very specifically good into picking up those. I can pick up 3 or 4 big units in a single turn. So it's not really, it wouldn't make for an interesting game.
No, and I agree. I think that we could, that's 9 out of 10 of the Hypercrypt for the way your build is. However, me personally, if someone said, I'm going to give you $1,000 to take Necrons to a tournament, I'm going to think they're crazy and take the $1,000.
Yeah, tell me about that person.
Yeah, let's
tell me who that person is.
Can I get their contact information? But if that was the case, I still would probably take Canoptek Court. One, I personally love the Canoptek units. Those are some of my favorites in the game. The Canoptek Spiders, Scarabs, the Doomstalkers, all those things are some of my favorites in Necron in general. Mm-hmm. Besides the point, I think that the Canoptek Court is where Hypercrypt may be top of the meta because of some cheese and some kind of skewed rules. I think Canoptek Court is still strong, and I think it's stern but fair in the sense of how it plays. And just on top of it, it plays missions really well. It does really play them well. And I personally would probably lean more towards a Canoptek Court over a Hypercrypt. If I'm going to play up and down, I'm taking Grey Knights. But with Necrons, Canoptek Court, and with all that being said into it, this is actually probably a bigger challenge for you than Hypercrypt because of one thing: feel no pains. And I have a bunch of them. So how do you feel about that? Looking at like the Wraiths, for example, 4 wound models, 5 up, feel no pain. What is your non-smack talking thought process with that type of unit?
Well, yeah, the Wraiths have a tremendous number of wounds because they're 4 pieces, 6 of them. That's 24 wounds, and then 5 up, feel no pain. In addition to all their other defensive stuff, it's just ludicrous. In terms of how many wounds you have to get through to kill them, it's over 30 because of the 5 up, feel no pain. So it's definitely a challenge. And the fact is that you can make something untargetable outside of 12.
Correct. 1 command point, yeah.
Yep, yeah, so you have that ability too. So it definitely makes the Wraiths tricky. And your army is a little bit MSU, so that's less strong for me. Like I said, the DevWatch, they really shine when they've got some big targets they can take down. Some big, huge units, big targets, big models that they can take down. Having a more of an MSU style with more small units, spiders here, Canoptek, Doomstalkers, all these things, it makes it a little bit trickier for me. So I think it's a better test than you throwing a couple monoliths on the table.
Right. And something interesting also that we were discussing recently that we did not know, when your guys enter via Deep Strike, I'm not allowed to overwatch them.
Right, yeah. It's in the designer commentary. If you look under counts as, go to the designer commentary in the app, scroll down to the C's and counts as moved. If a unit comes in from reserves or deep strikes, or gets out of a transport after that transport has moved.
Which would be the drop pod after
Yeah.
it lands disembarking.
Right. They count as having moved, have made a normal move, except for triggering any abilities or stratagems that your opponent may have. So you cannot overwatch something that comes in from Deep Strike or reserves or has gotten out of a transport after the transport has moved. If they get out before the transport moves, then that's still considered a normal move, so you could overwatch them. But it makes it a little trickier because you do have a strong overwatch threat with those Doomstalkers that hit on 5s and also reroll all their hits if they're in.
And blast on top of it, where things like your sternguard, that would be 2 additional shots plus. So I'd be D6 plus 3 shooting at the sternguard, and like you said, overwatching on a 5-up, potentially on a reroll. I could really do a lot of damage to that squad right away without much effort. All right, there's only one thing left to do.
It's time to roll.
It's time. It's time. Odd or even, my friend.
Even. It's 5.
And it's odd. So, Lane, I guess you will be deploying first, and we will be back after deployment. All right, we are deployed. Lane, talk to us about what we are doing today.
We are going to play Warhammer. Where'd you put the card there? So our deployment today is Sweeping Engagement. This is the pizza slices, or Crooked Dawn of War, as I like to call it. Our mission today, our primary mission, is supply drops. This is Alpha and Omega. After we determine who's going first, then we roll for the Alpha and Omega to see which objectives are disappearing. And then, and that is in rounds 2 and 3. Each objective is worth 5 points, only the ones in no man's land. And then in round 4, they're each worth 8 points, but one of them will have disappeared. And then the final round, objectives in no man's land are worth 15 points. And then today's mission special rule is sweep and clear. Everybody gets sticky objectives. You get a sticky objective, and you get a sticky objective. Anytime you control an objective through your command phase, or you will, you can sticky it, so you can move off of it and still control it.
All righty. So now let's talk about actual deployments here. What do I say?
You say you're a coward, sir, hiding from my shooting?
Yeah, I mean, something about a whole bunch of drop pods filled with stern guards didn't seem like a good time to take to the face on turn 1 if I don't go first. So yeah, we are nicely tucked away back here. The Wraiths are able to pounce out and pounce on the center objective. I did decide to put the Crypt Thralls right in there, right with that squad of Wraiths. I want to give it a try today on a more forward unit. Then we got our Doomstalkers. I measured out where their 8-inch move is, so they'll be able to get into a really good firing lane as we go on with the turn. I did put a squad of Spiders back because I do have to respect the Deep Strike, because Lane has a lot of different Deep Strike options, including the Centurions being able to pick up off the table and Deep Strike in. And then my Immortals are back off of the plate so they don't get shot at. And with that Translocation Shroud, they have a 12-inch move coming out of there. So, yeah, they can get across the field. Early game, I'm not looking at very much. I just want to be able to make sure that I constantly have threats going into the objective marker so I can keep my Canoptek control node going for it. Oh, and the Wraiths are out here holding objective number 4 as the game begins. So, yeah. So if I do go first, then I actually need to tweak this guy just a wee bit. Beep. There we go. Now, if I go first, that sticky objective will allow me to take that and continue on with the game. So, all right, Lane, over here. Talk to me.
We're all over the place, really. Got a couple of ATVs out there just ready to scooch out if they need to. I have the lieutenant with the combi weapon here. He's got lone op, so he will be able to be relatively safe. The captain and the infiltrators are in the middle there, just kind of staking out so you couldn't deploy.
And they're actually below, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Phobos captains lets me redeploy. They're going to scooch back as soon as we start the game because I'm not putting my captain out in the middle of the table. And then the Calidus is here ready to scooch forward onto that objective 1 if she needs to cleanse or something like that. So,
and the Centurions are back here to stay the entire game and just hold your home field objective. Right?
Incorrect. As soon as they're able, I will pick them up at the end of one of your turns and drop them somewhere.
I mean, I think the pro play is to leave your Centurions behind the wall on that objective for the entire game. That's my opinion, honestly.
Okay, you're wrong. I'm going to disappoint you, DJ.
All right. Well, in this case, what would you like to do? Go first or second?
Probably second. I think I like second better, especially with this mission where we're at the end, the last battle round. There's only going to be one objective left. Second's usually going first.
Yeah, it is positive. That is true. Going second is the stronger. All right, let's roll it.
Do it.
Those are 2 3s.
Again.
Yep. So try again. All right, now let's roll 5s. Here we go.
We both won it equally. Oh, hey, that's you, sir.
So it looks like I will be going first, which is not the beneficial one as we were talking about for the mission. We have to determine the alpha and omega objectives, which we will do shortly. And we'll be back after Necron's movement phase. All right, so this is my movement phase. This is my shooting phase. And my fight phase. Well, that was fun. So first things first. We do have alpha and omega objectives. So for simplicity purposes on what this all means, when we rolled these off, this objective marker is going to be the first one that's going to leave at the end of battle round 4? Or
at the start of battle round 4.
Start of battle round 4.
So you don't score that in battle round 4.
Right. So that one will be gone. And then on the start of battle round 5, this objective marker will be gone. Now we do have sticky objectives. So I did sticky 2 of the objectives, that one and my home field. For the turn, I drew tempting target.
I tempted him here, guys.
And bring it down, which I
don't have any vehicles on the table.
Yeah, they're all floating away. So I just kind of positioned for later on into it. So I do have the thralls in this squad array, so I move them out so at least they're in a more threatening position. So I'm not completely just giving Lane the entire board, and then move the immortals up to get ready to pounce out there and do some work into the next turns. And then I got these guys into better position for the same reason. I know the objective is going to disappear, but right now I just need to position myself for later turns. I didn't want to bring out the Doomstalkers yet. And yeah, so I discarded Tempting Target to gain a command point. I think I'm going to discard Bring It Down as well. Just because if Lane does bring in the pods are not the biggest threat to me. It's the things that are coming out of the pods, the pod people, if you will.
Not my pod people.
The pod people. So I don't necessarily want to spend time shooting at them just to score points. I'd rather draw into them something like no prisoners in that. So not a high scoring turn. Sometimes that's going to happen with the cards, but we now are going to go into Lane's turn with 3 command points. And if you know Canoptek Court, we have a slew of defensive stratagems. So, all right, that's it for me.
I did want to point out a couple things. My lieutenant chooses an objective at the beginning of the game, and anytime I target an enemy unit on that objective, I reroll 1s to wound. So I did pick this one because that's the Omega. It's going to be the last one left on the table. And then I did redeploy my captain and the infiltrators. They were in mid-table here. I ran away, and they're holding my home field objective. So those happened pregame. All
right. So I'm going to pass the turn to Lane. Anything before I pass the turn?
I'm going to spend a CP and pick up my Devastator Centurions and pick up the Calidus Assassin.
Alrighty, and we'll get over to Lane's turn and see what he does with all that.
So we pulled Extend Battle Lines and Assassinate. Now, I was sorely tempted to try and assassinate the character out of these Wraiths, because remember, as DeathWatch, I can pop a once per game ability that means all 6s to hit become precision. I could have dropped those. I up you down in my Dev Sense. I could have dropped him here so I could shoot here, but I would have to bring the Dev Sense very close because for 1 CP, DJ can just make them untargetable outside of 12 inches. So instead, I dropped a Dev Sense over there. I did, with a moment, the far Doomstalker. And that's really it. Just scooched a few things around. Scooched the ATVs over here. Calidus is over there. We got Extended Battle Line, so we'll do that. Assassinate, we're not going to pull off. But we're going to shoot a Doomstalker and see how well that goes. Okay, so we blasted. Now, I did a little bit of strategy here. I put Oath a Moment on this Doomstalker, and this one is on an objective. That just means that I would basically reroll all hits into both of those. So if DJ spent the CP to make one untargetable, I could just shoot the other one. However, as you can see, they're both still here. DJ just spiked his 4-up invulns real strong. Because I did get, 5 wounds with the last cannon, and you made all of them except for 1, and then the same thing happened with the missiles where you made a whole bunch of saves. So he's still alive with 2 left. which means they'll get to shoot back at me, which may be a problem for my little babies here. So that was it for my turn. I just scored extend battle lines. I'm going to pitch assassinate because I'm not going to count on that for the next turn either. So on to DJ.
Well, the cards are not exactly in my favor right now, but hopefully that'll turn around later into the game. We got Storm Hostile Objective as well as Investigate Signals. So Investigate Signals, I like seeing that right now because I'm able to just kind of put some units in position and at least score 4 points off that. What with the spiders and the wraiths. Otherwise, storming hostile objectives, I can't really do right now because the only one I could storm technically would be this one or this one, both of which are kind of out of reach. I could run the wraiths over there, but then we're relying on charges, and if that fails, then bye-bye wraiths. For right now, I just want to focus on making sure I have my control matrix in the middle so that all of my Doomstalkers and my Immortals can put some hurting on these Centurions. I don't expect to pick them up, but I need to do some damage to them because now is the chance. They shot, they didn't take out a Doomstalker, so let's hurt them in return. My Doomstalker that got hurt did Battle Shock. He went up to four wounds, so he's going to sit still and utilize that heavy ability. So at least he's hitting on 4s still. My other Doomstalker just wiggled back so he can draw a clear line of sight to 4 of the Centurions, while the back 2 would still get covered. So we're going to mess with that game and see what we can do with Lane here, because here's a fun little fact. If Lane takes a save on any of those Centurions, then for the duration of the shooting phase, Lane is going to have to continue to take saves on that same Centurion. So we're going to see if we can't pick and choose and pivot some targets and make him make some decisions and maybe get some opportunities where I can put my strong long-range Doomstalker cannons onto a Centurion that may not get the benefit of cover, so we can actually get some damage to land through. They are 4 wounds apiece, and I do 3 damage, so 2 hits to take out a Centurion. And with all of his defensive buffs and everything, I mean, I'm going to be looking at getting him on 3-ups at best. So that's what we're going to be sitting at. That's what we're going to try and do. Oh, and these wraiths that moved in the middle, they're within 12, and 5 of them have pistols, and they're just going to be annoying on that lieutenant. Just try and pick on him a little bit. So, all right, that's it. Let's shoot some Space Marines. 50% casualties, I'll take it. Considering Lane did use Armor Content, so they were at reducing my AP by 1, and they kind of were in cover. So I'll tell you what I did here real fast and why I did it this way.
I'll tell you what you did. You rolled hot on your number of shots for the Doomstalkers.
Not really. It was okay. I rolled 2 4s on them. I rolled
and a 6.
4,
2 4s and a 6, which means you're way above average.
Lane just likes to be grumpy.
He's just like, it was my total skill that scored these kills.
You're telling me that there was no skill involved in my target placement. I take full credit for this just because I rolled decent. I mean, listen, I'm going into next turn with 6 command points right now, so I had a CP to spend on a reroll if I wanted to. I just didn't need to. So here's what we did. So first, we shot with this Doomstalker. This Doomstalker, basically the whole unit was in cover to them. But again, Lane knew that I had one in the back that was able to ignore, that had cover for days, that it could go into 4 of the guys that wouldn't have cover. So I shot with him, did some damage, and it was onto the guys in cover that were up against this wall. There was 2 that were hugging up against here that really weren't cover. One guy had a wound left, kicked it over here to the Immortals. They shot in, were able to get that extra wound and peel that one back. And then I shot over here with this Doomstalker, who no matter what he did, he was shooting into guys with cover to add on a little more damage. By the end of this, both of the Centurions that were against the wall over here were dead. So this meant that all 4 of the Centurions over here were facing down a Doomstalker and not being able to get cover. So that at least put them on a 4-up save, and blessings to the Overlord. This Doomstalker fired downfield and was able to pick up 1 more. So we got 3 of the Centurions off the field. That's super, super helpful. And Lane's going to help me by taking the other 3 Centurions off the field at the end of my turn by spending a command point to put them back in deep strike because they are scared little boys. Otherwise, for my secondaries, I had, again, investigate signals, as well as, what was the other one I had? Storm hostile objectives. And Storm was a little too difficult. Like I said, I didn't want to dedicate into that objective. Probably could have, but I think it would have been a little risky. And this one was just way too hard for me to get to. So I just went after Investigate Signals with the Wraiths in the corner over there, as well as the Spiders over here. And that's going to be my turn. We're going to pass it over to Lane. And he is picking up the Centurions and the Calidus.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, going into DeathWatch turn.
Secondaries are secure no man's land and storm hostile objective. That's going to be a little tricky. I have secured no man's land here, but it's going to be tough for me to pick up anything over here or over here. A very long shot. If for some reason I kill this whole squad except for the character, then the Calidus can charge in and try to finish them off. Finish off a character and somehow storm hostile. Extremely slim chance of that happening. So we're just going to start blasting. We got the Dev Sense came back in over here, a drop pod full of sternguard here. We tomed and popped off my sustain for this turn. So I chose the Immortals and the Wraiths as my tome targets. So I'll reroll all hits and all wounds into them. And then we're just going to start blasting away. Yeah, Eradicators came over here so they could shoot into Doomstalkers. Finally finished the one that we had targeted. And then, yeah, we got Sternguard here to shoot into the Wraiths. Sternguard here to shoot into the Wraiths. And then DJ spent a CP on Rapid Ingress and brought this nasty little Sentinel in. So looks like he's going to try and shut down my primary scoring a little bit.
All right, so let's go over that one more. Follow me with that again one more time. So you brought in 3 drop pods, and all 3 drop pods have 10 Sternguard in them.
Yes.
And those 10 Sternguard are, you have target saturation, where so this Sternguard unit can shoot at the Wraiths or the Immortals, but they don't get rapid fire in the Immortals.
Correct.
And over here, the Sternguard can shoot at the Wraiths and nothing else.
Right.
And over here, these Sternguard can shoot at the Immortals.
Yeah.
And possibly the Wraiths, because the character, his booty's hanging out there.
Oh, look at that booty.
But no rapid fire into the Wraiths.
Right.
And then you have Eradicators to take out a Doomstalker.
Yeah.
What are the Centurions doing?
Who knows? They can shoot here. They can shoot here. They can shoot down here.
All right.
So a lot of targets open. So we'll see what kind of business we get up to with the shooting. Okay. So we got the Wraiths. It actually was down to the wound. The very last wound. We picked up the Wraith squad. The character is still there. So the Calidus is going to try and charge in. Calidus, the storm hostile objective. So we need that 9-inch charge. I don't have any CP, so we just have to make it. We did pick up the Immortals. One of the characters with that squad took a couple wounds as well. Then we popped this Doomstalker, what was here, and we also popped this Doomstalker that was here. So that was a significant amount of damage. And now we're just to see if we can make this Calidus charge. So
want to roll that charge? Let's see it happen.
Let's do it right here, right on the table. I just need a 9er, baby. 9er.
No.
Oh,
that's not a 9. That's not a
6 on the dice. Oh,
all right.
Calidus.
So what do you score for the turn then? Didn't storm?
No, just 3 points because I secured no man's land here. Didn't storm a hostile objective or anything, so that's it.
And you broke my
But
heart.
a satisfying amount of destruction.
That hurt. So I lost my entire center field, but I still control the objective, so I will get a decent primary to start off. The sticky objectives help as well over here, so I hold these. And we start our turn. So we drew Overwhelming Force and Area Denial. So this Techno is going to give me the Area Denial and got into a nice little gap, so he's just right outside of 9, so that stupid lieutenant can't run away. And we're just going to try and take him down so he can't mess with me anymore, and then lose our Technomancer into the next turn. Then over here, we moved our Chrono up just to kind of slow this squad of Sternguard down to the middle. This squad of Sternguard is already going to come and take the center. I know that's going to happen, but at least I can go one at a time and not have to deal with 20 Sternguard in the center all at one time. Yeah, that's at least what I'm thinking for it. Because I don't want 20 Sternguard in the middle. I mean, it's just too much to deal with. It's already a lot to deal with. And unfortunately, I'm not really in range with any to take on any of the Sternguard where I'm at currently. I moved the spiders up. This spider moved up and got overwatched. I lost one of them to the Eradicator's Overwatch. And this Doomstalker stood still, so he's going to be hitting on 3s. And we're going to try and punish these Eradicators for their insolence. and remove them from the field, considering that's the only thing that really my spiders are going to be in range of to shoot at this turn. So that is kind of rough. But at least the spiders are in position, so as the sternguard tried to take center, I can kind of answer back. Now that we're off the Tome of Ectoclade's turn, that will help. Now we have Overwhelming Force. We're only probably going to get it for one objective, which is going to be this one right here. And we're going to drop in this other Sentinel, and we're going to try and take out this last, or this one ATV that's on the objective. I got to start making some pushes at this objective because that's going to be the last marker left at the end of the game. So that's kind of a thing. And yeah, so that's going to be it. Let's do a little bit of shooting and see what we can make happen. Okay, so, well, the Eradicators are gone. You know, having 5 spiders and the Doomstalker did the trick. Realistically, the Doomstalker was the one that finished the job, mostly. AP, the high AP and the flat 3 damage works well into 3 wound characters that don't have a field, or guys that don't have a feel no pain. But the spiders definitely did work. Without them, the Eradicators would still be around. Apothecary's still alive. He got smacked by Gauze at the end of it all, but he's still there. On to other news, we will get 3 points for Overwhelming Force because we not only took this objective, putting Lane at a 0 on primary, but we picked up the Eradicator with 2 of the Sentinels. Yay! Then over here, we finally finished off the Lieutenant. The Staff of Light from the Technomancer was too much for the Lieutenant and took him down. Over here, the Chronomancer in his silly little gun that has Blast actually picked up a Sternguard and did a wound. It's just a silly, silly little gun. It's adorable, but it works. Other note, we charged the Overlord into the Calidus. I know I can't really see it over here, but there was a Calidus hiding out underneath there, and my Overlord charged in and sent her packing. So at least I don't have to deal with her up and downing anymore, but I still do have to deal with the Centurions up and downing. So that's going to be it for my turn. I will get a 5 on Area Denial. Thank you, Technomancer. You did good. Now you can get removed very quickly by, I don't know, dealer's choice over here. And I will get the 3 points for Overwhelming Force because of my Sentinels over here. Good job, guys. And that's going to be it. Lane, do you have any end-of-turn reactions? You picking anybody up?
Yeah, I'm going to spend 1 CP to scoop this guy.
Just get him out of there.
Yeah.
Like
scoring it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you know, you draw investigate signals or something like that. He can make it happen. So, all right, that's going to be it for me. We're going to hand it over to Lane and his 0 on primary. Hopefully that matters later in the game.
So we pulled no prisoners and bring it down. So I don't like these little gribblies back in my side of the board here. So I oathed this one, and then we just moved everybody towards it. We're going to come get some bugs. And then let's move forward here. Going to try and take out these bugs here. Move the ATVs over. Made the mistake of getting too close to the Wraiths. Then DJ moved back onto this objective because I could have taken that from him with the Apothecary I picked up for Teleportarium. So I made the mistake there of not watching out for his movement shenanigans. So that's it. We're going to do some shooting. Really just going to try to kill these bugs hither and see if we can make them gone. Devastator Centurions devastated this Gribbly, Sentinel. Everybody else here shot into this one. Did some work, got some dev wounds through. He's down to 3 wounds. We're going to charge, see if we can finish him off. Then all the characters are in here. Just enough fire from all the Sternguard to pick up that character there, that Overlord there.
And Overlord.
Yep. No matter how many times I play against Necrons, I will not remember what they're called. I have 1 ATV left to shoot, and I could have shot at the ring.
You can say the Transquibbler Aclobubulus.
Yeah, Transuranic Arquebus. But I didn't shoot at them just because if I kill one, he's just going to reanimate it back and give him more board control or more ability to move around the board. So that's it for all the shooting. Last thing is see if we can punch the last 3 wounds off this Gribbly, and we'll be back. All right, turns out enough Sternguard got in here. The Sternguard are surprisingly decent in combat because each guy gets 4 attacks. The base guys, they're just bare hands, strength 4, AP nothing, 1 damage. But each sergeant gets a power fist with 4 attacks, and then Because I popped off lethal hits this turn, I just got enough punches to get through and finish off the last Sentinel there. So we did do that. DJ did pick up one of these guys in Overwatch when they charged in. But other than that, that's it. So I scored 10, 5 for Bring It Down, because they were less than 9 wounds for each of the Sentinels. So that's 4 points plus 1 because it was tactical. And then I got the max with no prisoners because I killed them and then a whole bunch of characters. So that's it. 10 on secondaries. On to DJ's turn.
All right, the long charge has begun. So kind of wish I had the characters now, since I have Defend Stronghold and Behind Enemy Lines. So we'll be able to hit behind enemy lines. This objective is stickied, but that's not really going to matter because that objective is going to be gone at the command phase. So even if Lane wants to deep strike in and take it now, he can have it because it's gone. So we're going to, over here, we're going to take these Wraiths and we're going to charge the ATVs, and that'll be able to get us into behind enemy lines, wholly within. And then we are going to try and make this long push with some spiders. So the spiders are moving. We're going to try and pick up the Centurions with the Doomstalker, because we do have straight line going right down there, right into them. And that'll be, so hopefully we can pick them up. And then we're just going to try and rush with the spiders. This squad advanced. And then this unit is, we're looking for a 10. We're looking for a 10 on that charge. So we'll see what happens with it. We're going to try and use this drop pod to get us closer and see what we can do. I mean, granted, we got a whole bunch of sternguard in here that have something else to say, but I mean, if I don't go after it, I just hand them the point. So I have to at least try. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to shoot, and we'll be back after we shoot some Necron guns. This is the face of disappointment right here. You want to know why?
Because first of all, he rolls 6 on his number of shots for the Canoptek Doomstalker, and then he rolls an 11-inch charge with these spoilers.
Yeah, that's what happened.
He needed a 10 and rolled an 11 just to make sure to rub in my face that he got over what he absolutely needed.
So we did shoot. We dropped the Centurions down to 1 dude with 1 wound remaining, thanks to Mr. Doomstalker, who sat still. And excellent call on my part. Nothing to do with the dice. And then the spiders, they made their charge. They needed a 10. They got an 11. So they're going to go and charge. Probably use a command point to tank shock that thing too, just because I want it gone. And then over here, we're going to charge with these Wraiths into there. We did a little bit of damage in the shooting phase, so now we're just going to charge just to do behind enemy lines, and we'll come back after this combat. All right, so we tank shocked because I wanted it gone, and I needed it too. Bye-bye pod. So the pod is gone, and then over here we picked up one of the ATVs, but more or less we just needed to make sure we were there for behind enemy lines. So we're going to get 3 points on behind enemy lines. We'll be getting 3 points on defend stronghold after Lane's turn. We do have a spider hanging out back on the objectives, just so I can't get deep struck on or have anything like that happen. And yeah, that's it. Over to the DeathWatch and their turn 4.
I call upon DJ to tempt me with a target, and I also am denying an area. So DJ did pick this objective over here. I did fall back with the ATV. He didn't need a battle shot because he's an 8-wound model. He's only down to 4. So he survives. Got over here. I did successfully take the target where I was tempted. And then area denial, there's nobody in the middle because there's no objective in there. So these guys are able to move up and be wholly within 6 of the center. That red dice is the center. So we're in there. A couple of them can take shots down at the spiders there. We're just going to shoot these spiders as much as we can.
And I spent the command point when he moved up there to get these other spiders closer. So
I hate that strip. But yeah, these guys moved up.
Trucking.
These guys moved up. So he's trying to take this objective at the end of the game.
Gotta try. Gotta try.
Yep. All right, I'm going to shoot a little bit. So we did some shooting here and managed to pick up a spider from this squad and a spider from that squad, but also get these 2 spiders down in wounds. So now I'm going to do some charging. As DJ has informed me, he does have a strat. After I declare the charge, he may spend a CP to do a reanimation. It's just D3 though, right?
Yeah, just base D3 now for special.
To try and keep some of these guys alive to give me troubles here. So the sternguard definitely performed very well, firing and doing enough damage to really wreck through them. So, and the lone dev scent still did pretty well as well. So here we go. Going to make some charges. One of these guys will reanimate. I declare the charge, DJ. Do you want to roll your reanimation?
Yes, I will, and I'll do it on the 2-man, or the 2-wound guy.
Yep.
Give me 3 wounds, so 3. He goes up to 5. And we will, let's dance.
Oh, friends, that charge phase went about as bad as it possibly could go because I declared both this spider and that spider with this squad, and I rolled a 2. And I needed a 3 to get to that one. And I didn't have any CP for the charge, for the reroll. So they failed their charge.
Lane failed.
Now, by
8-3
10th edition
charge.
rules, I didn't even have to declare him. I'm realizing after the fact because you can pile into something and still fight into it.
Yeah.
I charged with the dev scent. And
He made it.
He made it, but he failed to do any damage. I was hoping it would just be some extra, but yeah. So that was a terrible charge phase. I don't think DJ has enough to with these 2 spiders. I guess this guy could bring back his other spider buddy now. But yeah, that's man, that was terrible. What are you guys doing? I was just speaking praises of you, sternguard, and now you're failing a 3-inch charge.
So high about that.
I was so proud of them, but yeah. Okay, that is.
Well, you do score 10 on secondaries.
I scored well, yeah. So we're all right. We're all right. It's just the most embarrassing charge roll ever. All right, on to DJ's turn.
Ugh. I drew Secure No Man's Land, which I physically cannot score. I mean, I could do the small part of it. There is a small for holding 1, but I have to control this objective. Ugh.
It's one of the reasons I don't really like missions like this for competitive play because now that we're down to 1 objective, you can pull secondaries that you just absolutely cannot do.
Right. The other one was behind, and I'm sorry.
I mean, I like it when we're playing and you pull it, and I benefit from it.
Of course you
But
would.
in general, I don't like it in competitive play.
So engage on all fronts, which I should be able to do, at least the baby side of it. I can't get all 4. I wouldn't be able to hit both of these table quarters in any which way. So out of spite, I'm just gonna crash with my wraiths and try to take out this pod and just charge it and get over there, and that'll give me this quarter. Then over here, I should have at least 1 spider alive, at least at the end of the turn, to take this quarter or have a unit in this quarter. And I'm already hanging out over here. Now, the only thing I am concerned about is lane drawing a capture enemy outpost. So I do want to do some work to these sternguard in the middle. And some of this is just some spite damage too. So wraiths are going to shoot at them. And then all these guys are going to shoot at them. And then we're going to charge in here, shoot, tank shock, and see how much work we can actually do the sternguard. I was not able to get the Doomstalker to get line of sight onto those guys. Otherwise, I would definitely be shooting over there. So, yeah, that's...
Now, we had some high drama here, though, DJ. Because you brought this guy back up to 5 wounds when I charged him and failed my charge. And then in your turn, you got a 2 on the reanimate. So you brought back his buddy with 1 wound. And I did overwatch them when they moved and scraped 2 devastating wounds off from the
That is correct.
So you brought a guy back. I took him away. Because if 2 spiders in there, it changes the math quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. All right. Let's do some shooting. So we did do a decent job to take out these sternguard in the middle. They're down to 3 dudes left. So that's a happy thing for me. Just so that if lane draws capture enemy outpost, that was combined effort of the Doomstalker. This little spider of that stayed alive over here. And the Wraith shooting. The Wraith then charged over into the pod. We still got engaged on all fronts. We left it with 4 wounds. We'll probably pick it up in lane's turn and take its home field objective just for spite. But the true story is over here and what happened. So we shot and did a little bit of damage to the squad inside the building. Did like no damage to the squad outside the building. Then we charged. And this one spider went to town. At the end of it all, there's only 2 sternguard left. And had the other spider survived through, we actually would have gotten a couple points for No Man's Land and made some interesting things happen. But that is not the tale of the tape. So this sternguard squad finished off the spider and then tagged the objective just so it is contested. And I won't get any points on Secure No Man's Land on that objective, but I will at least get a 3 on engage on all fronts. And we'll pass it over to Lane's turn, where all he has to do is just close out the game by finishing off this spider and taking this objective back. All right, over to the DeathWatch.
So for my final turn, turn 5, I pulled Deploy, Teleport, Homers, and Cleanse. So what we did is, first of all, we passed our Battle Shock with these sternguard here. They're already in the middle, so they did not move because if we moved, DJ could have overwatched. He'd be overwatching on 5s and rerolling everything. So we did not move. We just deployed teleport homers in the middle. Then there was a 2-man left here. I auto-passed them, the 2-man. They were engaged with the spider, and then I cleansed with them because they have pistols. They could cleanse even though they're in engagement range. These guys moved hither, and they shot the spider, and even at -1 to hit, still rolled pretty hot on my heavy bolter hits, and we got through and managed to finish them off with a few dev wounds. So that means I scored 6 points here at the end, 3 for cleansing 1 and 3 for deploying in the middle, which brings our final scores. And of course, because I hold this objective, it's the Omega objective. I got 15 points on primary for that. So I made a big swing here at the end. But in the end, DeathWatch scores 72, and the Necrons pull off a 54. So 72 DeathWatch, 54 Necrons. And a pretty good game, very close game, probably until that last turn, the swing of the big points. But follow us over to the post-game battle report. We'll talk a little bit about it and talk about how excited I am to play this list in a GT. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye.